You don't wake up one day with shoulder pain. It builds, slowly, silently, almost like a setup. At first, it's nothing. A little tightness, a weird pinch when you press. You ignore it. Then, one day, just reaching for a glass feels like a max-effort deadlift. And by then, man, it's already too late. Every year, over 20 million people around the world walk into a clinic because of shoulder injuries, and I can promise you, none of them saw it coming. You lose mobility. Your strength tanks. Simple stuff. Putting on a shirt, combing your hair, grabbing something from the back seat, turns into a daily struggle. And here's the brutal truth. Most of it could have been prevented. The shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, but also the most unstable. It's like a Ferrari engine sitting on a Jenga tower. If you don't train it smart, you're basically asking for a breakdown. Yet most people treat shoulders like an afterthought, or worse, they overload them with ego lifts, bad form, or cookie-cutter workouts made for Instagram, not for real life. You think you're training your shoulders? Cool. But if your program doesn't hit the front, side, and back with balanced precision, you're not training them. You're just accelerating your own downfall. Trust me, I've been there. Painkillers, missed workouts, that awful feeling when you know something's off but can't fix it. And you keep pushing through until you can't anymore. That's why today's video isn't just about aesthetics. This is about performance, longevity, and staying out of the surgeon's office in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. Because when your shoulders go, everything else, your chest, your back, your arms, they all suffer. So I'm giving you 4 essential exercises that your shoulders need to survive this game. And I'm not just talking theory. These movements are rooted in rehab science, proven by athletes, and refined in the real world. If you're serious about training, or just want to keep lifting for years without breaking down, don't skip this, because what you do in the next 6 minutes might save you from 6 months on the sidelines. If this is already hitting close to home, hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next might just change the way you train forever. 1. The silent breakdown. No one sees coming. You know what's terrifying about shoulder injuries? They don't start with a loud pop. They start with silence. No swelling, no bruising, just a weird tightness, a little click, a subtle pinch when you press or reach behind you. You tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe you stretch it out. Maybe you ignore it. Maybe you throw some icy hot on it and hope it disappears. But the problem? It's already there. Every time you skip rear delt work, every time you press heavy without warming up, every time you let momentum do the work instead of your muscles, you're adding another drop to a cup that's already close to spilling. Rotator cuff injuries don't happen in 1 rep. They happen in thousands of reps. Bad reps, unbalanced reps, reps where the wrong muscles are compensating without you even knowing. You don't notice it when you're 25, but after 35? After 40? That harmless shoulder tightness turns into something that wrecks your upper body training for months, or worse, forever. And here's what most people get wrong. They assume the shoulder is fine as long as it doesn't hurt. False. By the time you feel pain, the damage has already been accumulating for years. You just didn't feel it, because the body is amazing at compensating. Until it can't anymore. That's when the trap takes over. That's when posture starts collapsing. That's when one little movement, like grabbing a suitcase or tossing a backpack, feels like you just tore something. And trust me, that's not something you want to feel. Because once the rotator cuff is gone, it's not about pushing big numbers anymore. It's about getting your arm over your head without pain, about sleeping through the night without waking up from discomfort. If that sounds extreme, it's because it is. And it's happening every single day to lifters who thought they were invincible. You need to train smarter now, before your body forces you to. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. What comes next? That's what really steals your freedom. And no one sees it coming. 2. When you can't even reach your own back. Imagine this for a second. You've spent years building strength. Chest, arms, back, all looking solid. But one day, you try to reach behind your head to fix your hoodie, and your arm just doesn't go. Not without pain, not without struggle. Sometimes, not at all. Sound dramatic? That's the reality for thousands of people who never trained their shoulders right. See? Mobility doesn't disappear overnight. It dies slowly and silently. You lose 5 degrees here, 10 there, until one day you physically can't raise your arm high enough to wash your hair or grab something off a shelf. And here's what sucks the most. You don't even notice it's happening. The shoulder joint is built for freedom, rotation, abduction, circles, angles. It's designed to move in more directions than almost any other joint in your body. But if you don't use that full range regularly, your body adapts by taking it away. The connective tissues shrink. The capsule tightens. Your nervous system says, well, we don't use this range anymore. Let's lock it down. That's how you get stiff. That's how I'll warm up later turns into I can't even lift my arm without wincing. And here's the wild part. Mobility isn't just about flexibility. It's about strength and control throughout that entire range. It's not enough to be able to lift your arm. You need to lift it with purpose, with stability, and without pain. Because when you lose that, you lose a part of your independence. No matter how big your biceps are, if you can't move your shoulder properly, you're stuck. One study on adults over 70 found that the inability to raise the arms overhead was one of the strongest predictors of physical dependence. That's not just about fitness, that's about real life. The stuff nobody wants to think about until it's too late. And this is why shoulder training isn't optional. It's not just about looking good, it's about staying free. But we're not done, because even if your shoulders move and feel fine now, there's something else working against you every minute of every day. 3. The posture that's aging you from the inside out. Let's get real for a second. You can train 5 times a week, eat clean, and still look like someone who's never touched a weight, if your posture's off. And that slouched, forward curved shoulder position, it's doing way more damage than just messing with your selfies. We're talking about accelerated aging, compromised breathing, chronic pain, and a nervous system that's stuck in survival mode. And the worst part? It starts way before you even notice it. See, your posture isn't just about standing tall. It's a daily reflection of what your muscles are capable of holding when you're not thinking about it. And if your rear delts, lower traps, and external rotators are too weak to fight gravity and screen time habits, guess what? Your shoulders roll forward. Your chest tightens up. Your traps stay overactive. And now your body's in a constant fight. It was never designed to win. You look tired. You feel tight. Your breath gets shallower. Your recovery tanks. And even your lifts start to suffer. Because a body that's hunched forward is a body that can't generate true power. It's not just about aesthetics. A rounded posture physically limits how much oxygen your lungs can take in. With less thoracic expansion, your breath becomes short, inefficient, And that means less energy during workouts, slower recovery, more fatigue, more brain fog. And you want to know what else? That constant forward pull doesn't just ruin performance. It's wrecking your neck too. Your traps, your upper back, your spine. They're all overcompensating for the fact that your scapular stabilizers are asleep. And when that becomes chronic, now you've got tension headaches, cervical tightness, and circulation issues that mess with focus, and even sleep. This is how the body falls apart. Not in one day, but in 1,000 moments of poor posture reinforced by weak support systems. You don't fix this by standing up straight. You fix it by building the muscles that hold you upright when you're not even thinking about it. The rear delts, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, the rotator cuff muscles that don't look flashy, but keep your shoulder from collapsing inward. And here's what's wild. Most lifters are weakest exactly where it matters most. They're overdeveloped in the front and hollow in the back. If that's you, don't feel bad. Feel motivated. Because this is fixable. You just need the right tools. And that's what we're about to give you. Because up next, it's time to stop the breakdown and start the rebuild. Let's talk exercises. Exercise 1. Cable lateral. Raise more than just width. If there's one movement that deserves way more respect in your training, it's this one. The cable lateral raise isn't just about building capped shoulders for the mirror. It's about creating lateral stability, preventing joint collapse, and reinforcing the exact angle your body struggles to control as you age. Here's the truth. Most people butcher their dumbbell lateral raises. They swing. They cheat. They let gravity do half the work. The cable? It fixes all of that. Why? Because cables provide constant tension from start to finish. No dead zones, no momentum, no shortcuts. Every inch of that movement is earned. It was originally used in physical therapy for shoulder rehab, long before bodybuilders discovered how powerful it was for hypertrophy. Why? Because it respects your shoulder's natural arc of motion. Less stress, more control, safer execution. But the benefits go way beyond size. Stronger lateral delts, quaterns better overhead stability. They act like armor, shielding the joint when your arms go up, which is exactly when your shoulder is most exposed. They also help fight the natural internal rotation caused by modern posture, overactive pecs, and hours hunched over a screen. So when you train lateral delts properly, you're not just building width, you're restoring balance. Here's how to do it right. Stand sideways to a low pulley. Grab the handle with the hand farthest from the machine. Keep a slight bend in your elbow. And don't let that angle change during the movement. Raise your arm out to the side until it's parallel to the floor, or slightly higher. Now here's the key. Tilt your hand like you're pouring a glass of water. Thumb slightly higher than your pinky. That subtle external rotation, it protects the joint and boosts lateral delt activation. Common mistakes? Swinging your torso like you're dancing, lifting too high and turning it into a trap movement, or grabbing a weight so heavy your form collapses halfway through the set. None of that builds real strength. It just builds problems. Start with 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps, using a weight you can fully control. Want more intensity without more weight? Pause at the top for 1 full second on each rep. You'll feel it, trust me. And if you're just starting out, try setting the pulley a bit higher. It'll give you a smoother path until your shoulder gets stronger. But don't stop here, because next up is the move that made Arnold a legend. Exercise 2, the Arnold press. built for strength, designed for longevity. It's named after the legend for a reason. The Arnold press isn't just a variation. It's a revolution in shoulder training. Why? Because it hits all three heads of the deltoid in one seamless movement, front, side, and rear, while also engaging your scapular stabilizers and external rotators. In other words, it's a full package upgrade for your shoulders. Most overhead presses just go up and down. But the Arnold press adds a rotational component that changes the game. You're not just lifting, you're moving through a path that mimics real-life motion, improving strength, coordination, and joint health in one shot. Think about it. In one movement, you start in a position that challenges your internal stability, and finish with your arms fully extended, reinforcing proper overhead mechanics and shoulder control under load. This isn't just about size, it's about longevity. When done right, the Arnold press improves proprioception, your body's awareness in space, enhances joint mobility, and strengthens those often ignored muscles that keep your rotator cuff from falling apart. Here's how to do it like Arnold, but smarter. Sit on a bench with back support, or stand tall with your core locked in. Hold a pair of dumbbells at shoulder height, palms facing you. This is your base. As you begin the press, rotate your arms outward while driving the dumbbells overhead. At the top, your palms face forward and your arms are fully extended. Then, reverse the motion slowly, bringing the weights back down while rotating your arms to the original position. Everything should be smooth, controlled, no shortcuts. And here's where most people go wrong. They swing the weights up with momentum instead of controlling the lift. They arch their lower back too much, turning a shoulder press into a spinal strain. Or they rush the rotation, treating it like a throwaway motion, when in reality, it's the most valuable part of the entire exercise. Don't make those mistakes. Start light. 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Master the pattern before chasing the pump. Once it clicks, you'll feel a deep, balanced contraction across your entire shoulder, not just in the front. And that feeling? That's how you know you're building shoulders that don't just look strong, they are strong. Now, let's keep going. Because the next exercise, it's the real MVP of shoulder longevity, and hardly anyone does it right. Exercise 3. Reverse fly, the most important movement you're probably ignoring. Let's get one thing straight. If your rear delts are weak, your shoulders are vulnerable. Period. And that's exactly why the reverse fly is such a game changer. Most people spend years hammering the front and side delts, completely ignoring the muscles in the back, the ones that actually stabilize your shoulders, support your posture, and keep your joints aligned when you move through life. This imbalance doesn't just look bad. It's a setup for chronic pain, impingement syndrome, and a hunched-over posture that screams dysfunction. The reverse fly fixes that. It zeroes in on the posterior deltoid, a small, stubborn muscle that's incredibly hard to hit with compound lifts, but absolutely vital for joint integrity. And here's the truth most people miss. If your rear delts are underdeveloped, your body will compensate. Your traps will take over. Your neck will tighten. Your rotator cuff will grind away rep after rep until something gives. That's why the reverse fly isn't just a finishing move. It's a foundation builder. It was originally used in rehab settings, but once athletes and lifters realized how powerful it was for balance, strength, and injury prevention, it became a staple in serious shoulder routines. And if you do it right, it'll humble you. Here's what it should look like. You can do it lying face down on an incline bench or standing with your torso bent forward. Hold a pair of dumbbells with arms extended in front of you, palms facing each other. Then, slowly and intentionally, open your arms out to the sides like you're trying to squeeze an orange between your shoulder blades. That squeeze, that's where the magic happens. Hold it for a second. Feel it. Own it. Then return to the starting position under full control. This is not about moving heavy weight. It's about connecting to the muscle and firing it without letting your traps take over. A lot of people mess this up by going too heavy or losing scapular control. They shrug their shoulders, let momentum do the work, or skip the pause at the top. And just like that, the exercise becomes useless. So keep it clean, keep it focused. Start with 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Choose a weight that burns only in the back of your shoulder, not in your neck, not in your traps. And if you want to turn it up a notch, add a longer isometric hold at the top. Just 1 extra second can completely change the stimulus. Don't underestimate this move, because when your rear delts catch up, everything else, from your posture to your pressing power, levels up with them. But we're not done yet. There's one more key movement that ties it all together, and chances are you're doing it wrong. Exercise 4. Dumbbell lateral raise, the underrated classic that builds real width. This exercise is so common, so basic, that most people assume they've mastered it. But here's the truth. 90% of lifters butcher the dumbbell lateral raise. They turn it into a trap shrug. They swing. They rush. And then they wonder why their shoulders look flat from the side. Or worse, why they feel pain instead of progress. Done right, the dumbbell lateral raise is one of the purest isolation movements for the lateral deltoid. It targets that sweet spot that gives your shoulders that wide, rounded, three-dimensional look. But beyond the aesthetics, this movement plays a major role in shoulder joint stability. It supports overhead motion, balances out anterior dominance from pressing, and reinforces the side of your shoulder, a region that often gets overshadowed in training. Now here's the secret. It's not about lifting the heaviest dumbbells in the gym. It's about owning the movement from start to finish. Start standing tall, dumbbells at your sides, feet shoulder-width apart. Keep a slight bend in your elbows. Lock that angle in. Now raise your arms out to the sides until they're level with the floor. Not behind you. Not too high. Just clean, controlled lateral motion. And this next tweak changes everything. As you lift, imagine pouring water from a teacup. Thumbs slightly down, pinkies slightly up. This subtle rotation activates the lateral delt more efficiently and protects your shoulder from internal strain. Most people mess this up by letting their traps take over. Their shoulders hike up, and the whole purpose of the movement gets lost. Here's how you know you're doing it right. You feel a deep burn in the side of your shoulders. Not your neck, not your upper back. Just that lateral head working on its own. Start with 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, using light to moderate weight. And if you want to increase the challenge without going heavier, slow down the eccentric phase. Take 2 to 3 seconds on the way down, and your delts will light up. This movement should feel precise, not explosive. It's not about ego. It's about building real, functional muscle that looks good and protects your joints. And if for any reason you can't perform the dumbbell version, don't worry. There's a powerful alternative coming up that delivers the same benefits with even more control. Stick around, because this bonus exercise might be the shoulder saver you didn't know you needed. Bonus, easy bar upright row. The shoulder saver. You didn't see coming. Let's be real. Most people either love upright rows or completely avoid them because they've heard they're bad for your shoulders. And truth is, they can be. If you're doing them with a straight bar, poor form, and way too much weight. But when done right, especially with an EZ bar, the upright row becomes a safe, joint-friendly, and highly effective way to build width, strength, and control across the entire shoulder complex. Here's why. The EZ bar's angled grip allows a more natural wrist and elbow position. That means less strain on your joints, better biomechanics, and smoother movement from bottom to top. This isn't just about comfort, it's about sustainability. And unlike isolated raises, the upright row is a compound pattern. You're pulling, stabilizing, and controlling, all in one fluid motion that translates to real-life strength. It especially targets the lateral delts and traps, but also recruits the biceps, upper back, and scapular stabilizers in a way that mimics everyday functional tasks, like lifting groceries, carrying luggage, or moving heavy objects. To do it right, start with the bar against your thighs. Grip slightly inside shoulder width, palms facing your body. From there, pull the bar straight up, keeping it close to your torso, elbows flaring out and leading the movement. Think of your elbows like arrows pointing to the ceiling. They guide everything. You're not trying to lift the bar. You're trying to drive your elbows up and out. At the top, the bar should reach around collarbone height. Then, control it back down. No bouncing, no swinging. And here's the part most people miss. It's not a race. This movement works best when you stay tight, tall, and intentional. If the bar starts drifting forward, or your back arches to force the rep, you're doing too much. Dial it back. Own the motion. Start with 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Moderate weight. Focus on clean form, stable core, and consistent tempo. And if your shoulders are already irritated from years of pressing abuse, this variation could be your golden reset button. Because sometimes the best exercise is the one that lets you keep training without breaking down. So use it wisely. And now, you've got a full shoulder blueprint for strength, for posture, and for pain-free performance long-term. Strong shoulders don't just lift heavy. They let you live without pain, move with freedom, train without fear. And if you've made it this far, you already know. Shoulder injuries don't knock. They sneak in, slowly, quietly, until they rob you of everything you've built. But not anymore. Because now you've got the tools. 4 movements, each one hitting what most people ignore. Stability, balance, protection, real strength from every angle. You're not just building size, you're building resilience. The kind that lasts for years. The kind that keeps you training when others fall off. So now I want to hear from you. What's the one thing you're changing in your training after this? Drop it in the comments. Let's grow smarter together. And hey, if this video gave you at least one aha moment, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's keep building this together. There's a lot more coming that'll save your joints, unlock performance, and help you train for life. If you want even more, check out the video on screen right now for a full chest workout, built with the same science-based approach. Take care of your body, because your body is your freedom.